welcome to the Cancer Journey podcast. I'm Alicia.
I'm Sherry Ann.
So let's get grounded. And Sherry Ann, will you start us off with Pesh?
Yes, okay. Physically, 4.3. Emotionally, 4.4. Spirit, 4.5. Hope, 4.45. And my word is joy.
We like joy. Okay, physically, I am a 4. Emotionally, I am a 4.1. Spiritually, a 4. And hope is a 4.25. And my word is discombobulated.
Mm, as you are. Okay. So,
So today we're going to talk about cancer and money. It's a very, it can feel like a touchy topic. Money in general can, right? Because culturally we're told not to talk about our money. But it really is important, not just when we're talking about cancer, but in general, to talk about where we are with our money to better understand what everyone else is experiencing as well. And that way we don't feel so separate from everyone. But when we talk about money and cancer, especially in the US, a lot of times it becomes a strenuous topic. And
mhm.
with the work that we do, because we are not a nonprofit, it becomes a question a lot for the people who work with us. So as we keep in mind cancer and money, it's a perspective that we want to choose to stand in. So where do we want to go?
It's a big topic. And the first thing that comes to my mind is in a workshop that I was doing way, way, way back at the almost at the very beginning. There was someone who was sitting there in the group, and she said, the issue of money is as devastating as a diagnosis of cancer. And I just went, wow, you said a mouthful, sister, because it is. And like you just said, we don't talk about it. And there's so many things associated with just the whole concept of money. Money is power, money is greedy, money is selfish, money is freedom. I don't have any, or I have some, or I have a lot, I got to protect it, or I need to get it. I mean, there's just so much angst around it versus, hey, it's a piece of paper. It is a function of exchange. And so, like, almost not sure which way to like take it today, but I just wanted to kind of throw that out there so everybody goes, okay, yes, money. Here it
Mm-hmm.
is. Now,
Yeah.
what about it?
And it's so much more than the monetary value. It's so much more than, the physical currency itself. Um, it's really about the impact that it has on our lives. And this, even regardless if you think that having money is equated to happiness, the fact that that is a concept that's in, our consciousness is means that it has a lot of power for us. It has a lot of, um, like innate weight. It has the power to make us feel secure. It has the power to make us feel really insecure. There's so much power that we give to the idea of money that, especially during a cancer diagnosis or during a cancer journey, it can easily have this really heavy veil over it, one that may even eclipse how it feels to actually be with having cancer. Just as you said, like as the attendee of your workshop said, like the cost is more devastating than the diagnosis often, because we feel secure with money. We feel like it is what supports us. Sometimes when we think of money, we think like, where do I live? I have to pay for my mortgage or my rent or whatever it is. How do I feed and nourish myself? Money becomes a big part of those conversations. So the fear that comes with that is so visceral. Like I can feel it, like makes me itchy. Like,
Oh, right, right.
uh,
Where cancer in its own right, just just a diagnosis of cancer is itchy,
mhm.
right? It's like, oh, it's so insecure, it's so unknown, it's scary. And then I think on top of it, part specifically the United States. It's we do I have enough insurance? Don't I have insurance? Who's going to pay for it? Where am I going to be supported in my most basic needs? And how am I going to pay for this?
Hmm.
Where in the other countries they don't have to deal with it because they have um, I want, for lack of a better word, socialized medicine. So government provided medicine. Where here we are in the States worrying about how do I make it through this devastating diagnosis. And so it's not only that your body feels like it's wrecked or it's wrecking, but your whole foundation is now hmm, my words are not coming out, shaken
Hmm.
through this. And yet, I mean, if we can hear in honor of the way that CJI works, if we just slow this down and maybe almost pick it apart and unveil it, it's like, what is money and how do we deal with that? Just the whole concept of money.
Yeah. So I was going kind of exactly where you were with the pause, but the pause to say that everything that we've said until now even has just been an acknowledgement of the impact of cancer and recognizing it with the money that comes in, because that is often a very early thought for people who are starting their cancer journey. It is quite possibly maybe even the first thing people think about. And so we want to really acknowledge and recognize the panic that comes with it for anyone who is in this situation. And if you're listening to us, everyone's lives have been touched by cancer in some way or another. And it has been at least a thought at one time or another for anyone undergoing a cancer journey as a patient, driver, survivor, caregiver. It touches all of our lives. So I do think it's really important for us to just state that right now. It's debilitating panic often. And so we hear you, we see you in this experience, and we want to continue to let you know that it's not everything. Money
Mhm.
is going to be important. It does provide you with that sense of security. And there's tools that we have to help you better balance what is most important, um, and what will make you feel resourced, not just monetarily, but spiritually, emotionally, even physically. Like, how else can we feel about this money that isn't so hot?
Right, right. It's like, what resources are there available to me? And of course, just like a diagnosis, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I mean, I can really say that because I said that how many times I was diagnosed. And yet, I forget what a resource I am, not just my physical resource, but my mind, yes, and my emotions, who are indicators of what's going on for me to pay attention to, and my spirit. My spirit is that motivation, that ability to be beyond my limitations. And so, yes, we need to realize that we are very resourceful. Even though your body may feel absolutely beaten up, there is still the other parts of you that can come in and support that to bring you to a more, I don't want to use the word resource again, but more capable, more resource. I don't know. I need another word. Help me here.
It's okay. You can say resourceful. That is the essence of what you're trying to say, is feeling resourced and feeling not just resourced with having lots of money, resource having tools that can help guide you through times that aren't so easy. And they come up a lot during a cancer journey. And a lot of what we do with this experience, because it's so much, right? It's more than the diagnosis, it's more than the money, it's more than the physical experience you're going to have, it's more the emotional, it's all of it, and it's a lot. Like, that's a lot to hold, and we do not anticipate anyone holding it easily. It gets really heavy. It gets, you're not the same person you were just the minute before you got that diagnosis. Like, the minute you get that diagnosis, you start to transform into a different version of yourself, period. Like, that absolutely happens. And what we want to recognize, and where we want to stop, not stop, pause, is here in this moment. and what truly matters. Cancer is here whether we don't want to recognize it. Let's be honest. We do not want to face our cancer. It's so hard, especially the minute you get a diagnosis. But once we can really see the impact and know that it's here and begin to process what our life is now with cancer in it, with cancer alongside us, because we are not battling this cancer. It's not us versus the cancer. It's all in one. We're walking hands with it and trying to help heal it as we're healing ourselves. It's a tandem journey. We're really figuring out what really matters, what can I do right now, and what do I really need and want coming out of it. If it's going to feel overwhelming, maybe you just got a huge medical bill, maybe you just like you see all the expenses racking up, a GoFundMe, something like that, asking people for help, there are those kinds of resources as well, but it kind of starts at this place of recognizing how cancer is impacting you in this life and what you feel comfortable with and what you really need, and who are you at your core, so that you're able to ask for help, whether it's monetary or otherwise, whatever resource you feel you don't have that you're asking someone to offer you. You can receive that without shaming yourself or guilting yourself or making yourself this little thing that's like, oh, I need everyone to take care of me and I'm just completely helpless. So it's really important in the work that we do to get to a place where you know that you have power, you know what your resources are, and you know what gifts you have and strengths you have to get you anything you don't naturally have.
And yes, it's so much of what you said. And I'm like, I want to jump in here and I want to jump in there. So while you were talking, I saw the correlation between a cancer journey and a money journey. And on both sides, we sometimes don't want to look at it. Or on the opposite of that, we get obsessed with it. But what we want you to do is to be with it, like not closing your eyes and not only focusing on this. It's like those are the other ends of the spectrum. We want you, again, to do the pause and get really clear on what's happening with your body, what's happening in the cancer realm on that journey. Who are you being and how are you dealing with this? Very much like what you were just talking about is who are we and how does that sit with who we are? The same with money. How much do you have? Ooh, some people don't even want to look at the bank account because they're afraid of what they're going to see. And some people don't want to look at their cancer because they're afraid of what they're going to see. And so if we really look at where it is, knowing that we're on our own journey and how we look at things it's everything. It's a perspective. So if you're looking at this is doom and gloom, it's going to be doom and gloom. That's the lens you're seeing it through. The same, if you have that same perspective with money, that's where you are. If you're thinking, oh, this is the perfect time for me to be diagnosed with something like this because of the abundance of what's out there and what's available to me. And let's take the abundance in money. Oh, I'm abundant. I may not have what I want yet in my bank account or coming in or how I'm making money, but there are resources. What's available to me? How can I grow my money? How can I bring in other sources? Well, how do I feel about money? It's a parallel.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as you're talking about the mindset, right? And where you choose to be, I'm reminded that recently we just had a money mindset workshop with one of our coaches who has been working in that field for a very long time, and she offers coaching because we are often in the mindset and the perspective of um, with our money from our past, how we were raised. There are a lot of things that influence that. And so sometimes we don't even recognize, like, what do we think of money? I mean, a lot of times people think of it as security, yes. But once you can really understand what your mindset is around money, there is no judgment about what it is. It can absolutely be security. It can also be like a plaything for you. I don't know. There's so many different perspectives you can have on it. Um, Once you recognize where you are, you get to make an active choice, if you wish, to see it differently, or at least have the compassion for why you had the perspective you had, and then begin a journey of letting that go and stepping into what you really want to be and where you really want to be.
And that's the power, right? Of knowing where we are. The very first piece, it's like, okay, let's really sit down and look at my cancer diagnosis. Where am I and what are my options? Same thing with money. Where am I and what are my options? They're both scary to look at, but once we know, once we have at least a clear view of what's going on, then we can move forward, and then we've restored the power to ourselves, which is one of the main things we do at the Cancer Journey Institute, is trying to find your power place, and we help you get there, whether it's cancer, cancer and money, cancer and relationships, cancer and your job. We're dealing with your entire life, not just the cancer journey. It's your life and the cancer journey. It is one of the things that's happening to you, which I think is very different than like other cancer support, where they're just really dealing with you on the cancer journey. We realize that life happens. So we have to deal still with the life happenings. And one of the big ones is money. And so I think what I really want people to get from this conversation is the awareness of, yep, it's a big topic. And yep, I need to pay attention to it. And if I don't, it can spiral out of control because I've taken my eye off the the topic and the subject. And it's same for all of that. And what I want to say is, when we look at, I feel like I'm already saying my takeaway, but there's so much more. When I'm looking at my financial situation, that clarity is almost calming. I mean, it might be a scary picture in this moment, but then I know it's not the unknown. And I know most people are most afraid of the unknown.
Mhm.
It's like the known you can deal with. The unknown,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think in that way too, it's like, yes, it can be scary to look at your bank account. It can be scary to look at your finances, but the more familiar you are where you are at there, the less surprising, scary, shocking it is, because you're working through those emotions as you're consistently checking in on it. Um, and of course, like, I'll say it, but I think it's implied that none of this is to minimize the impact that money has on cancer. I think this is one of the biggest topics, so that's why it's hard to kind of extrapolate, because we don't want to say that money doesn't matter and that like other parts of this journey matter more. That is absolutely not true in that way. Um, when we were in Italy in 2021 and we were part of the International Oncology Leadership Conferences, one of our coaches was speaking, and one of the questions she got was about money and how, cancer journey coaching goes along with the money that people are spending on their cancer treatment. And we definitely see it going hand in hand. But the big thing is that there are other ways of paying for it. So sometimes when we're in that money mindset, we're thinking it's my bank account and all the money in there that goes straight into someone else's pocket. It's just that into that. But there are other routes. There are other partners and players that are here and wanting to support you. There are other organizations. There's, your loved ones. There's a lot of people who have resources that aren't only money, and there are a lot of people who have resources that are money that you can utilize and apply for, whatever the process is. But it's more than just what's in your pocket into whoever you're meant to be paying for that treatment specifically. But money is such a big topic, and it's so taboo that just by having this conversation, I mean, I think we're breaking down a lot of those walls there. um, but it's just as big a part of this whole cancer journey that you experience. It's not something, like you were saying, that needs to be put to the side. It's a big topic.
it's a big topic. And what you're speaking to is also kind of the spiritual impact when we talk about, okay, where did we learn about money. It does have genesis in when we were young. You know, our parents, how they handled money is what we saw and kind of what we learned by osmosis. It's like, oh, if, you know, they didn't pay their bills, here's the consequence. Oh, we got to notice that the power's going to be turned off. Uh-oh. And as a child, you don't have the capacity or the wherewithal or even the responsibility, though I think there's some incredibly responsible young people to take that and say, give it to me, I'm going to do it. So we gain our beliefs and our values around money back then. So if that has propagated itself and it's you're here in your adulthood and you're still reacting from what your parents taught you or that environment, and it's not working, there is some forgiveness here for you. And then education. Like there's so many places now to get not only advice, but assistance more than, and it's like cancer treatment. The more they grow it, the more that's available. It's there's so much out there, but it's for different situations. For instance, somebody who has a lot of money or it and might be wanting to hold on to that and not put it into somebody else's pocket unnecessarily. um how do I protect that? And those are resources that are there that is not important right now to somebody who doesn't have a lot. And so looking at what's available, how can I educate myself? That doesn't necessarily cost money. It's gotten easier and easier. I mean, I wasn't a big proponent of AI because back in the day, the movies that we saw were all about AI taking over the world. And it still might. But asking for information and putting that at my fingertips right here, it's like, wow. And that can deal with some of the angst. It's like, oh, there are other places that I could maybe not find on my own, but here it is available.
Mm-hmm.
And I really appreciate this time we're in right now and what's available to us to not be so stuck in our anxieties.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like that's your takeaway, or do you want me to do my takeaway and then you do yours?
Um, yeah, I think that's a good takeaway. So then let me do my pesh. Physically, still a 4. Emotions 4.3. I think this is going to be about the same. Spirit, I think that's a little higher, 4.6. Hope, 4.5. Okay, so that there we go. And my word is resources.
And we don't judge you on your pesh from beginning to end. You don't have to shift now, especially when a lot of times we say the coaching happens in between the conversation, right? So no judgments to wherever you are. It's not a comparison. My takeaway is to what you're saying, that money, the way that we have often been raised to view money, makes it very isolating. It's your money or my money and no one else's money. And it's a very selfish in that way too, especially in the way that we have been told that we shouldn't be communicating about our money or how much money we have or what we spend it on or any of this and that. And it becomes very isolating. And it makes us feel like we can't ask for help in any way or surrounding money, whether it's literally asking for someone for money or just asking someone for advice. It feels like we have to like hire a financial advisor to like do that whole thing for us. And that's just like a concept that has no structure. We can choose to not do that anytime we want to. And I will also say that our perspective on money is us projecting an emotion onto the concept of money. It is filled with emotion. It's filled with assumptions. It's filled with so much, and that's probably one of the biggest things that we're taught, that we're not supposed to change or share or any of that. And so the sooner we can kind of break down the walls around that in small or big ways, whatever you're comfortable with, obviously, the more educated we can be about how we move forward with it, because it's really hard to make decisions with money when we're so emotionally attached to how we feel about it. So, money is absolutely important. Don't get me wrong. It does make the world go round, and we're so much more resourced in other ways that aren't monetary that allow us to then have a better relationship with our perspective of money and our own literal cash in our pocket and bank account. And my passion, physically, I am a 4. Emotionally, I am a 4.25. Spiritually, a 4.25. And hope is a 4.25. And my word is trying. Well, thank you for joining us for this very, very important conversation, but one that is really often scary to have. So thanks for being here with us and taking it all in. And we'll be back next week with a new episode.
Have a lovely rest of your day. And remember, you are so much more powerful than you realize.